via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. Though sex is a bondage, yet it can give you highest freedom. Though sex is a bondage, yet it can give you highest freedom. For this you have to understand, sex is existential bioenergy that comes to you with birth, and it remains functional throughout your life in different forms. At the physical level, it is the sex energy. At the level, then it is the seed. When it blossoms, many flowers like creativity appear, and in the end, not at the end of life, when the journey comes to an end, it becomes compassion. So for that you have to understand, it has, at the initial stage, the journey begins with two poles. In case of magnet, these are known as North and South Pole, and for that very reason we have on the earth the North Pole and the South Pole, which creates a circle with the flow of the energy. In the same way, the magnet, the energy flows in an elliptical orbit, and then it completes the circle. Whatever act you are doing, for illumination, the circle has to complete. When you are starting something, it is one side is going. When you have completed, the other circle is completed, this hemisphere is completed, semicircle is completed, and with that you gain joy or bliss or whatsoever you call it. I will narrate to you an incident from the life of Ramakrishna Paramahansa, who gave to the world Swami Vivekananda. He nourished and nurtured Vivekananda. And any seed that you see, it is of no use if it remains in the cupboard or shelf. The journey begins when the seed is planted in a well-prepared soil. Then with the rain and sun and proper nourishment, the journey of the seed begins. It bursts itself into Out of that, a sprout comes. In the same way, sex is the seed that has been planted in you, that has been in you. It has to be prepared. It has to be planted in a well-prepared soil. What is the well-prepared soil? The soil that is free from conditionings, the norms, the religious values, and things like these. And what is the rain and sunlight? That is the awakening, understanding, the willingness to start the journey of the blossoming of the seed. And then in the end, when the seed has blossomed, many flowers appear, and finally the fruit comes in that has the capability to give many seeds. But the circle has to complete. From seed to fruit is semicircle. When the fruit is eaten or its seeds fall on the ground, the journey continues from seed to fruit and from fruit to seed. The circle is completed. So everywhere in life, the circle has to complete. Poison can be used as medicine in many things. If you look at the composition of various medicines in different types, Ayurveda, allopath, homeopath. In Ayurveda also, certain poisons are used for treatment of many diseases. One of my friend from Boston, his daughter was studying on the snake venom, and her research PhD or degree, whatever it is on the use of snake venom. There is a process through which the poison can be used as nectar. Sometimes the people have their own capacity to transform the poison into nectar. What is poison? We know the poison as poison, but anything can be poison. Excessive food becomes poisonous. Anything in excess becomes poisonous. But if you know the capacity how to do the compositions, the alchemy, then poison can be transformed into nectar. If you are using anything meditatively and lovingly, then poison becomes nectar. Couple hundred years ago, there was a person named Meera who was born in royalty in Rajasthan. She was the devotee of Krishna. It's not to be said that she was a follower. She has accepted Krishna as her beloved because there was an incident that happened in her childhood. Meera would have been 4 or 5 years of age, a sadhu came to her house. In the evening, he took out a small statue of Krishna to do his evening prayers. Meera saw it. She remembered something and she wanted that statue, but Sadhu loved that one also, so he didn't give. Meera left the food. She wasn't eating or anything, as normally happens when mother or parents want to pacify the little children. They say that I will get you one better than that, or made of gold or something like that, but that did not please Meera. In the night, when the sadhu went to the next village and he slept, he dreamed that Krishna is telling that this murti, this idol, does not belong to you. It belongs to Meera. Go and give it to her. You are simply custodian of it for some time. Gave it to Meera. Meera never parted with that idol of Krishna. It was a life for her. And wherever she went, whatever she did, she carried it with her. One day there was a wedding procession. Meera, like any other child, went to watch that. So she asked her mother, what is this? He said, this is the wedding. So she asked, when will be my wedding? And who will be my groom? She said, your groom is Krishna, that you all the time carry with you. Mother made it a joke, but Meera did not take this as a joke, but she took it Krishna as Sat beloved. She danced with Krishna. Krishna was a life for her. Somehow or the other she got married, but her husband allowed her to do her worships and everything. But after some time, when he died, passed away, then Meera was forced to marry the younger brother, or something. He did not like all that. It was a disgrace. So a bowl full of poison was sent to Meera, saying that Krishna has sent it for you. There is a particular song for it. Joyfully Meera drank that poison, and that did not poison her. If you are taking something meditatively, or if your meals are consumed meditatively, they are prepared in meditative state of awareness, then it becomes nectar. So for this, wisdom is needed. For poison to convert into nectar, wisdom is needed. One should not have a condemnatory approach, rather that everything in this world that is available has use for something or the other. Something or the other. There are herbs, you may not be aware of it, but do not condemn anything. That is the first criteria. Rather, use it wisely. Do not be against it. Find out ways and means how it can be used and transformed. Tantra is the deep, total acceptance of life. It is the only approach of its kind. All over the world, In all the centuries that have gone by, Tantra remains the unique way of transformation. You do not need to throw anything, do not need to be against anything, do not create any unnecessary conflict within, because with conflict, the process of destruction begins. All the religions are against sex, afraid of it, but it is such a great energy. Once you are in it, you are no more. Love is energy. Once you are in love, totally, you disappear. It is like the drop merged into the ocean. Drop does not remain. The merger of the drop in the ocean, which we call fana, is nothing else but an expression of love. That is why we use two words, fana fuel shake. When the disciple merges, dissolves into the master, or the drop merges into the ocean, it is fana fuel shake. And when the ocean merges into the drop, or you live by the subsistence of God, live in subsistence of God, it is known as fana fuel murid. The master has dissolved now. What does it mean? The consciousness of the master, the energy field of the master is dissolved into the disciple. Fana fuel shake is very easy to find, but fana fuel murid, the disciple has to have tremendous quality in him, the extraordinary qualities. Only then that can happen. Once you are in it, you are no more. Kabir says, Prem gali ati sakri. The love lane is very narrow. The two cannot exist there. You can enter only as one. The love is energy that works on two poles. When the two poles dissolve into one another, then love is born. It is unseen but realized truth. It is realization of oneness. Love is realization of oneness. This oneness can be with your spouse. This oneness can be with the master. This oneness can be with the entire existence. And when you are one with the existence in its totality, you are one with God. God is not a person sitting somewhere. It is the sum totality, aggregate of all that is in the form of sentient, insentient thoughts, with whatsoever you may call. If you try to be so, do not create any barrier in which you and the current become two. Do not allow this vital energy to have any possession over you. Be the master of it. Only Tantra says that this mastery is going to be false, deceased, pathological, because you cannot be divided with this current. You are it. So all the divisions are false, arbitrary, and basically no division is possible, because you are the current, you are the energy. pranavayu, the Ellen White, the life force. You are it. You are part and parcel of it. Just away with this. Like a wave I rose on the surface of the ocean one day, and today dissolve in the vastness of the ocean. And after that, what remains just a dancing, a singing, overflowing silence. And in that, all storms, all vicissitudes of life vanish. You can become frozen and you can separate yourself from the current. But that frozenness, that deadness, and is dangerous. Any humanity and humanity will become lifeless with that. Try to melt into it. Do not remain an iceberg. Melt and become one with the river. Iceberg floats onto the surface of the river or ocean. But the moment iceberg melts, it becomes part of the ocean. As such as we are frozen. Our consciousness is frozen, and we need to melt, become one with the river. First criteria is the iceberg has to melt, become one with the river, then becomes the part of the current of the river and will begin to flow with the river. Only when the flow begins, then the river will move towards the ocean, its destination, and turbulent, passing through behind the trees, and sometimes it soaks its way, and then finally it reaches the ocean. Then drop by drop the river merges in the ocean. Melt and become one with the river, becoming one with the river, feeling one with the river. What is river of life? This river of life is Ellen White. This river of life is godliness. Merging in the river, be aware, and there will begin the process of transformation. Or better to say, there will be transformation. There is transformation. Transformation is not through conflict, it is through awareness. These three techniques that I have meant, that Shiva spoke to Devi, are very scientific, but then sex becomes something other than what you know. Then it is not a temporary relief. It is not throwing the energy out. Then there is no end to it. Instead it becomes an circle of energy. I will take one anecdote from the life of Ramakrishna before this session comes to an end, and then we take the next sutra. Ramakrishna used to call his wife Sharda as Ma. How did it happen? This did not happen just like that. This happened in a very unique way when Ramakrishna was about 14 or 15 years of age. One day he was returning from he was working in the fields. One day he was returning from the field, and something happened. He was returning from his village, or from his field, near the bushes. He was passing to reach to his village. There was a beautiful lake. It was the time of dusk. Sun has started setting. Just set, about to set. Abduba. This is the situation. There was colors. The lower layer of the color is darker because darkness, sun is setting. The darkness is near the earth's horizon. Then above that a little lighter red color, then orange. Above that is the blue sky. Imagine this scene when the sun is setting. The rays of the setting sun has covered the sky, and these rays were scattered over the clouds. Rainy season was in the offing. Also there was scattered dark clouds. Rain was set. Ramakrishna was hurriedly returning. Same time he saw a row of cranes that flew from the bank of the lake and crossing the dark clouds, it disappeared into the unknown oblivion, disappeared in the sky. The flying of the cranes, all white cranes, amidst the dark clouds, it was like lightning in the sky. I have tried to give you a description of the scene that had happened at that time. Ramakrishna fell on the ground. He became unconscious. People picked him up and brought him home, thought that he had become unconscious, but there was an intoxication of a different kind. That was what Zen calls it as Satori or Samadhi. That time Ramakrishna was 14 years of age. This kind of situation comes and goes. Zen calls it Satori, small windows into the unknown and unknowable. Beginning of Samadhi, or the seed of Samadhi. With great difficulty, Ramakrishna was brought to consciousness. When he was inquired what had happened, he said, great bliss happened. This should happen again and again. Now, what you called as awakening or hosh or awakening is false. I fail to remain in this state permanently. The people of the village and the family thought that the boy Ramakrishna got astray. As such, he used to be in the communion of the saints and sages, used to attend their satsang communions. Up to that it was okay, alright. But now another thing happened. He becomes unconscious from time to time and he calls it Samadhi. he will get into a trance, fall down. This has gone astray. His name in the childhood was Gadadhar. Dhar means holder, that sustains. Gada means the one that you see in the hands of the monkeys, the monkey king and Hanuman. So they asked him, would you like to marry? He said, okay, no problem. So they thought that he should be put into this kind of bondage, because we all consider marriage. Now put him into the bondage, that his freedom is lost. So that was the same intention, and that is still continues. They asked him, would you like to marry? Ramakrishna said, yes, I'll marry. The people got startled. How he is agreeing to that? We thought that he will not agree. But he asked who to marry and when to marry. So the people said that we thought that you have become satsangi, you have started getting into trance, and there was a news in the village that you have become learned. That is why we are marrying you. But you are saying that you want to marry, but whom to marry? You are in such a hurry. Then a girl in the nearby village was searched. They carried Ramakrishna to see the girl. The girl came to serve something, and normally when an Indian home, a boy or the family comes to girl's house to see for the first visit, she serves the sweets. In Bengal, the best sweet is shandesh, made out of cottage cheese. So she served the shandesh to Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna saw. Her name was Sharda. So whatever money the mother had given him, that was in his, normally you do not, he was wearing a dhoti do not have a pocket, so they just fold a certain part of the dhoti that is tucked around the waist, and that is, the Hindi word is khisa. Make it like by ruling it, kind of a pocket where the money could be secured. He put all the money at her feet and touched her feet and said, from now onwards you are my mother. That is how Ramakrishna started calling Sharda as mother. People said, are you mad? This girl you are going to marry, and soon she is going to be your wife, and you are calling her mother. Are you in senses or you are senseless? But Ramakrishna said, she is my mother, and if I will marry, I will only marry with her. Ramakrishna finally got married. He did not deny. And I say it to you, this is the beauty of Ramakrishna, the uniqueness of Ramakrishna. That's why I adore Ramakrishna. There is a bond of love. He is a unique person. From the childhood, I had loved Ramakrishna, And the first book that I read, that was written by Romeo Roller, The Apostles of Ram Krishna. 8 apostles. Vivekananda was the chief apostle. Vivekananda, Latuji Maharaj, Adbhutanand, all these 8 apostles. So he used to call Sharda as Ma. In Bengal, there is Kali is worshipped. It is an embodiment, form of Shiva's energy field. So when the day for the worship of Kali used to come, he used to worship Sharda. And you will be surprised to know that he used to put Sharda on the throne without clothes and used to worship her. Then he will cry and shout and scream, saying, Mother, Mother, Mother. In the beginning, Sharda used to be startled if someone sees me, but soon Ramakrishna brought revolution in the life of Sharda as well. Then Sharda did not see any thing wrong in that when Ramakrishna used to ask her to sit on the throne without clothes. And on the occasion of Durga Puja, Ramakrishna used to worship Sharda. Ramakrishna is one of those people who never left his wife. Instead, the wife was transformed into the mother. It is said, according to Hindu, when Savitri, she went with Yamraj in one of the Upanishads. Savitri's father was Ashupati, and you will not go into that. She was blessed by Yamraj that you will have 100 sons, and 101th son will be your husband. Finally, the husband becomes the son and the wife becomes the mother. This is where the circle completes. The wife gives the motherly love, and although he went on saying, Ramakrishna continued to say that be free from all the illusion of money, wealth, love, more, yet still he lived in a totally different things. We are afraid of 2 things, money and women. Ramakrishna did not leave anything. So this is how Ramakrishna lived. He completed this circle, the circle of the energy, just as if you ask a scientist, a physicist about the magnet, he will say the bar magnet, in that it is easily visible. There are 2 poles, north and south pole. North pole faces the north pole of the earth and vice versa. You turn it any side. This is why the magnetic needle is used to be used by the sailors to find the direction in the sea. Compass. So the energy begins to flow from north to south and south to north. This completes this cycle. Wherever there is illumination, where there is the energy becomes a force to do something, the circle has to complete. Circle of the energy, two poles of energy. In order for man to transcend or woman to transcend beyond the finiteness, the circle between man and woman has to complete. The inner man and inner woman in you has to unite one with one another to complete the circle. This is why Hindus have the concept of Shiva as Ardhanarishwar, half male, half female. In Japan there is a statue of Buddha. One side is male, the other side is female. And in the state of ultimate flowering of love, man becomes feminine and woman becomes masculine. Buddha is, when you look at him, he looks more feminine. That is what his images are. Man becomes feminine. Compassion is feminine quality. Love is feminine quality. And Durga is an embodiment of energy, courage. So this is the completion of the circle. Tomorrow we will take the last of the 3 techniques in this series of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra on joyously seeing a long absent friend permeate this joy. This is what Shiva told Devi in response to his questions. Explanation is to be given by the one who understands this. We will take this in tomorrow's session. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.